It's good. It borrows a lot from the structure of Assassin's Creed, where you've got the towers that you conquer and climb to the top of, and conquering the towers causes it to do the whole spin around and show you the world around you kind of thing, just like Assassin's Creed. So they and then it's got a whole bunch of just tasks that litter the map. People go back and forth on whether these kind of tasks are a good thing. Assassin's Creed does the exact same thing, right? Like you'll have a bunch of pointless tasks that don't necessarily tie into the main plot. Like, go here, skin a bunch of animals so you can get a better pack. Go there, gather up ingredients so you can craft, stuff like that. And I guess it helps you out, but doing it over and over again can kind of feel repetitive. So I get where people are coming from and complaining about that. Like, when I was playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood recently, every single time I got to one of the timed races where it's like, jump through this series of checkpoints in a set amount of time and try to beat the time that I set to prove that you are fast. I'm like, God, why the fuck am I doing this? This is so dumb and pointless. I enjoyed the game for the most part. I liked Brotherhood, but it's got tasks like that that just feel stupid and pointless and get boring really fucking quick. And kind of just kind of get tired of doing that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the problem. The structure with Ubisoft games is both Assassin's Creed and Far Cry are similar in a lot of ways like that. They have like the mindless repetitive tasks that scatter the map that you have to do. And that's part of the reason why franchise fatigue set in for Assassin's Creed after Unity and Syndicate didn't perform like they wanted them to, especially Syndicate. Syndicate way underperformed what they were expecting. It was, I haven't played Syndicate, so I can't speak to its quality. But people were just tired of every year Assassin's Creed, a new Assassin's Creed. And after that, they did Brotherhood. They did Origins, which received much better because apparently they actually innovated for a change, which is kind of nice. I haven't played Origins. I own it for the Xbox One, but I have not played it. I will get around to playing it eventually, so I'm going to play other ones first. Like, I have Assassin's Creed Revelations for the Xbox 360, and after I get done with Metal Gear Solid 4, which I'm on Act 3 right now. I'm at the boss fight in Act 3 where you fight Raging Raven. After I get done with Metal Gear Solid 4, I'm going to get back to that. And I'm going to play through Assassin's Creed Revelations. And I've heard very mixed things about this one, so I'm kind of dreading it a little bit. But I'm going to play through Assassin's Creed Revelations, and then I'm probably going to pre-order that upcoming remaster of 3 that comes with Liberation. The remastering was announced as part of the Ubisoft, as part of the expanded DLC, the season pass for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Ubisoft announced that they were going to do a remaster of Far Cry or Assassin's Creed 3, and it would come with Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation, which was the PlayStation Portable game. And they finally recently released a trailer for that. It's coming out in March, and they just released this trailer for that. Could you wait much longer than that, Ubisoft, to show us what it looks like? And it's a really pretty upgrade. Like, it's a really good-looking upgrade from the original game. I like it, and I'm kind of excited for it. I hope that all the bugs that I've heard about Assassin's Creed 3 are not present. I hope they patch and fix a lot of the problems that game supposedly had, because I want to play it. But if it's going to be a frustrating mess to play, then maybe it's not going to be nearly as fun as I'd like. But I'm going to play through Revelations, and I'm going to get that version of 3, and I hope it comes with on a physical disc, because I'd rather have that than just fucking downloadable content. You know what I mean? Give me a physical disc, Ubisoft, please. But I'm excited about that. I'm excited to finally get to play 3, because I want to know what I'm going to wind up thinking of, because I've heard such wildly mixed things about 3. Some people seem to love it. Some people seem to not like it. I don't know what I'm going to think. I think it's cool to have one set during the American Revolution. It's being the relatively libertarian type of person that I am. It's a fascinating period in history for me. Liberty and freedom and things like that I love. You know what I mean? It looks awesome. I'm kind of excited to play it. And here I throw another piece of meat and attract another bear, and it kills a few of these guys to help me out. Anyway, after Far Cry 3... excuse me. After Far Cry 3, they announced on April Fool's Day what we all thought was going to be just an April Fool's Day joke. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. It was going to be... they made it look like an 80s action movie or 80s action cartoon. Stupid, ridiculous, over-the-top nonsense, one-liners everywhere. And intentionally crappy but funny writing and all the whole 9 yards. 80s as shit, you know, to the point where Michael Biehn was going to be playing the main character, and we all thought it was going to be a joke. Like, we thought that was going to be just an April Fool's Day joke, was never going to actually happen until it did. And Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon might be my favorite Far Cry. It's fucking awesome because it is stupid. It knows it's stupid. And it fucking embraces that stupidity. It is just entertaining as hell as a direct result. I love Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. It is fucking awesome. If you haven't played Blood Dragon, highly recommend doing so. Highly recommend doing so. Blood Dragon is... the story is stupid and over the top and a lot of fun. It's like it proposes that there was a second Vietnam War that somehow caused the apocalypse. Like, Vietnam War 2. It makes no goddamn sense, and I love it that much more for it. And usually not making any sense is a bad thing. Not in the case of Far Cry Blood Dragon, because it embraces its own stupidity and just fucking runs with it. It's entertaining as hell as a direct result. and it is so much fun. You get ridiculously over. Like, you ever wanted a sniper rifle that that fires explosive rounds and blows up anything you shoot with it? You can get that in Blood Dragon. It's awesome. You ever wanted to ride a dinosaur that shoots lasers out of its mouth? You can do that in Blood Dragon. It's awesome. It's got simultaneously the most patronizing and annoying and best tutorial in the history of video games, because it goes out of its way to be annoying in a funny way. It's fucking great. I love Blood Dragon. Like, if you have not played Blood Dragon, it'll take you 8 to 10 hours to do everything there is to do in it. And I would highly recommend doing so, because it's an absolute blast to play through Blood Dragon. And obviously this is my first time playing Far Cry 4. Or my second time playing Far Cry 4, because I tried to record it once and the file got corrupted. So I recorded it again. As I said earlier, I'm so far unimpressed with it, and the other one that I played and own is I have the PlayStation 4 version of Far Cry Primal, and not really all that impressed with Primal, honestly. It's removing weapons from Far Cry was a mistake. Like, if you're gonna go back to the Stone Age, make it stupid and over the top like Blood Dragon was, right? Like, that's better. That is what I thought they were going to do. I thought I was going to be able to, like, ride dinosaurs into battle and shit. They're like, Far Cry set in the Stone Age. And I'm like, am I going to be able to ride dinosaurs? It's going to be like Blood Dragon Part 2, but set in ancient times, because that sounds fucking awesome. But then they took it really seriously. And that was their biggest mistake with Far Cry Blood Dragon, Far Cry Primal was taking it way too goddamn seriously, and it's just so much of what made Far Cry fun, the weapons and stuff like that, it's not really there. The world's gorgeous and fun to look at, but that game is proof positive that you really should not try to annualize a series like Far Cry. You really, really shouldn't. I have played Far Cry 5. I don't own it. I know the new one's coming out very soon. Far Cry New Dawn, which is a sequel to Far Cry 5. It'll be interesting to see how that goes, because for the most part, I am not seeing the same excitement for New Dawn as you usually do for a new Far Cry game. So it'll be interesting to see how that one gets received by fans and critics and how it sells. Is that going to be the franchise fatigue moment like Syndicate was, where they go, okay, we need to innovate and put Far Cry on the back burner for a while and do something new with it? Or is that going to be like, people are going to realize after it's released that, oh yeah, this is great, and they're going to buy it in droves? I don't know. It's hard to say. But right now, I don't see the excitement for it. Like, there are some people that are excited for it, but the general response to it seems to be, I guess that looks okay. I mean, it'll probably be a better open world, it'll probably be a better post-apocalyptic open world game than, Fallout 76 turned out to be, but if that's your bar, that's a really fucking low bar, dude. Fallout 76 is not very good, to say the least. That's putting it lightly. I have it for the Xbox One, and it came with my Xbox One X. And I got my Xbox One X because I wanted the Xbox One X, not the game. So I don't regret it. I got it on sale, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it ever since. It's a great console, and it's something that I want to do a video review of. But I didn't get that to play Fallout, even though I love Fallout immensely. Like, I did the massive in-depth analysis thoughts and review of Fallout 3, and I feel I was fair to it, but I did heap a lot of praise at it because I think it's worth it. I think it really is that good. This is a little bit tricky. Doing the jump and grab the ledge there. That's a little bit tricky. The very first time I tried that, on my first playthrough of that, I failed it a couple of times and found up and fucking died like 3 or 4 times in a row on that. This time I got it on my first attempt. Yeah, you guys know I love Fallout. I love 1 and 2 and 3 and New Vegas a lot. Obviously, I love 3 a lot. I did a massive, in-depth 1 hour and 44-minute video review of 3 that I think is the best video that I've ever done. I spent a little bit too long discussing the story, so I think that kind of throws off the pacing of it. But overall, I'm very proud of that video. I wish it would have done better. It's got like 100 views right now. I'll probably play New Dawn eventually, and I, like I said, I want to review some of these games, especially for the opportunity to review the ones that people largely don't remember for the original Xbox. I want to review those. And I will do a video review of the Xbox One hardware. Xbox One X. I put a post on my Facebook page and shared it in a couple of groups that I'm in, asking if you guys wanted to see a review of it. I said straight up, I cannot do a review of this in 4K. Is that a problem, or would you be okay with a review of a 4K console in 1080p? And the vast majority of you guys said you wouldn't mind seeing a video review of a 4K console done in 1080p. So that's what I'm going to wind up doing. You guys can look forward to that. It'll be a lot of fun. Should be a good video. And it's one of a few pieces of hardware that I want to review this year, because I also want to review the PlayStation Portable at some point. That'll be after I get done with the Untold Legends trilogy, which I'm looking forward to reviewing more of. I have obviously got 2 more games. I did the first one. Got 2 more to go. One for the PlayStation Portable as well, and one for the PlayStation 3, which was a launch title for the PlayStation 3, Untold Legends Dark Kingdom. It was also one of the earliest games I got on the PlayStation 3, because I'm a big fan of RPGs, and I wanted an RPG for my system, so I went out and got one. And that was it. And I got that one, and I got Enchanted Arms. And I have never beaten Enchanted Arms. I need to go back and actually beat that one at some point. I should actually go back and play through Enchanted Arms at some point. I got the PlayStation 3 version. I've heard it's not particularly great, but, you know, I got a lot of RPGs I need to beat. I should stop buying games so I can catch up on playing my fucking RPGs, especially for the PlayStation 1. I have a ton of them for the PlayStation 1. Oh, speaking of the PlayStation 1, there's another piece of hardware that I want to review as soon as I can, because I picked up a PlayStation Classic for $60 at GameStop. And I brought that home, and I hooked it up, and set it up, and recorded myself playing 2 games, and posted both of the gameplay footage in one video. That was, I played Final Fantasy VII on it, and Metal Gear Solid, both of which I own on disc. So, I mean, it's something that I already own, but I wanted the PlayStation Classic because the PlayStation 1 is my favorite console of all time. So if you're going to sit here and tell me, oh, but you could get the Raspberry Pi and play all your PlayStation 1 games. I know. You don't need to point that out. I know. But the thing about that is the Raspberry Pi does not have that PlayStation 1 aesthetic. And the PlayStation 1 is my favorite console of all time, so that PlayStation 1 aesthetic holds a very, very serious and massive bit of nostalgia for me. I loved the PlayStation 1 to death for RPGs, for 3D platformers, for action games. It's a great system. I love it dearly. So I knew I was going to get a PlayStation 1 regardless. Like, all the bad news came out like, oh, some of them are the European versions, so they were 50 hertz versions, so they'll run a little bit sluggish. Oh, the emulator could be better. Stuff like this. And, oh, it doesn't have standard features like scan lines and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm still getting one. I'm still getting one. You tell me all the bad news you want, but I'm still getting one because I love the PlayStation 1. I absolutely adore the PlayStation 1. And I haven't played it all that much because I've been trying to get power through Metal Gear Solid 4. But I recorded that gameplay of Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy VII and uploaded that to my gameplay channel. If you guys want to check that out, you can. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description below, but I'll probably forget. But so far, I like it. It's not like for $60 you're going to get your money's worth. It'll be a nostalgic blast for the past. It's a decent little classic console. Yes, the lineup of games could be better. Yes, the emulator could be better. Yes, it would be better to run it all in 60 hertz instead of 50 hertz. But it's still fun for what it is, man. Like, it's $60. It's $40 off the original price. You get Persona, the first Persona. Hard to argue with that, right? Like, you get a bunch of classic games. Obviously, I did a video on it. Battle Arena Toshinden, which obviously some people like up in arms about whether that one's even a classic. Cool Borders 2, which is it's supposed to be a decent little snowboarding game. Destruction Derby, which was a fairly big deal in the early days. Final Fantasy VII, which needs no introduction. The first Grand Theft Auto, which I would prefer to, but what are you going to do? Intelligence Cube, which is hailed as a classic puzzle game. Jumping Flash, which was a big deal in the early days of 3D platformers and is kind of forgotten about now. Metal Gear Solid, which is the single best game that the PlayStation 1 had. I love that game to death. And I go back and forth on what the best game in the Metal Gear Solid franchise is between that and 3. I absolutely adore both that and 3. They're amazing games. Mr. Driller, which is a little puzzle game that I have not played. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, which I did play when I was younger. I played like a demo of it, and it's a pretty memorable experience. It's kind of like Out of This World, and that it's a cinematic kind of platformer thing, or Heart of Darkness on the PlayStation as well. Rayman, which is just a gorgeous side-scrolling platformer. I would prefer 2 because it's supposed to be a better game. But there are other better versions of Rayman 2 as well. Resident Evil Director's Cuts with that awful basement music. It's Resident Evil. It kind of needed to be on this. Again, 2's a better game, but 1 is still timeless classic survival horror. Revelations Persona, which is one of the main reasons that I was excited to get this, because I get to play the first Persona game. I've always wanted to, and I've got the second half of Persona 2 for the PlayStation. I need to get the first half for the PlayStation Portable, because that's when it finally fucking came out in English, like 10 years later. Ridge Racer Type 4, R4 Ridge Racer Type 4, which is supposed to be a damn good racing game. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. God damn it, that's a mouthful. Supposed to be a great puzzle game. I've always heard good things about it. I've just never gotten around to playing it. Siphon Filter. Okay, I love Siphon Filter. I loved that game when I was a kid, and I'm looking forward to playing it again. Even though it's got the original controllers versus the dual analog controllers. The analog controllers, which the DualShock controllers are objectively better. But the original controllers really aren't that bad. And it kind of wanted to give you the it kind of wanted to give you the early PlayStation experience, which I don't understand why you don't. If you're going to do that, why you don't just have like a separate version? It's like this is the DualShock version that comes with a bunch of DualShock games. This is the early version that comes with pre-analog games. Anyway, Tekken 3, which you got to have a Tekken on there, and Tekken 3 is a good choice. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, which I have played the PC version of this, and the PC version at least is a good game. I cannot vouch for the console version, but the PC version's a good game. Twisted Metal, which people like, oh, why you have that? Wouldn't it be better with analog control? Twisted Metal never had analog control. How long has it been since you played the original? It was a launch title for the system. It didn't ship with analog control. And yes, 2 would be better. Yes, 2 is a better game, but Twisted Metal 1, still a timeless classic for the original PlayStation. It's awesome. And you're missing out if you haven't played it. Anyway, Wild Arms rounds out the list. And I heard a lot of bitching about Wild Arms, because I think that's just because people haven't fucking played Wild Arms. Motherfucker, you're missing out. Wild Arms is awesome. Fucking play it. It's a great little RPG. Highly recommended. Love Wild Arms. I played through it years ago. And there's some good Let's Plays on it. The Completionist used to use music from it for his videos way back in the day. I don't think any of them are up anymore, because I believe all of them were from the Greg era of the Completionist. But, yeah, he used music from Wild Arms. He did a video on it. He'll probably do a new one, because he's doing the new Game Plus, and I believe that was was one of the 100 or so Greg era games that he did. But, yeah, Wild Arms. Fucking awesome RPG. It's like 2D sprites and then 3D character models in battle. So it's like a combination of 2D and 3D. And it's got like light puzzle solving Zelda type elements to its dungeons and stuff like that. And it's got like this... The world is kind of a very strange mix of inspirations. So it's got inspirations from... my mind just went blank. It's got obviously very, very heavily inspired by the Wild West and that kind of setting, Western movies, Western anime, stuff like that. But it's also got like some touches of like science fiction and cyberpunk elements and stuff like that. It's kind of a weird mix of things in that game, but it works. The characters are likable. The story is good. The music is gorgeous. And definitely highly recommend Wild Arms. It's an awesome game. Like, if you haven't played it, check it out. It's great. Beyond that,